Hello and welcome to the Roughneck Minute, a Movies by Minute podcast where we go over the movie Starship Troopers 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I'm your other host, Johann.
And we're at minute 28. This minute starts with an Ace Rico stare down and ends with Ace asking Rico what makes him think he's got what it takes to be squad leader. So yeah, Ace Rico stare down. It looks like it is about to go down. He throws down his tray, stares at Rico, and just, gives that Busey smile or that Busey face.
The all too familiar BC face.
Oh yeah.
So, I mentioned in the last minute that there were a couple moments where Verhoeven mixed around the introductions of certain characters. Certain character lines were a little bit different, like Diz was not supposed to be appearing in the last scene. Instead, she doesn't show up till later on. In this part, in the last minute, Breckenridge says, I'd like to disable Zim, obviously because he broke his arm with Zim. Ace is the one that actually says it. So it seems like Verhoeven really switched around the character introductions and the lines just to find that balance that everybody becomes likable and up. There's no hard contrast for a certain character. Xander seemed to be the only exception, but even then he wasn't that bad of a guy. We went over that we didn't think he was an antagonist.
Yeah, as we keep going through this movie, it seems like a lot of these people aren't really antagonists at all. They're just, Ace seems like he's kind of a bully, but not that bad, especially once a second later, where he smiles and laughs and tells Rico he's got some guts for a rich kid, and that he and him can be buddies, and slaps him hard in the arm. He's just a jerk, kind of, but he's not an antagonist. The only really antagonist seems to be the bugs.
It seems like there's just, I think it's just a balance that they all have a common enemy with the bugs, and that's kind of all he did.
Yeah. It really just seems like everyone just has, a bit of, what's it called? A little bit of character development that makes them, clash a little bit, but also brings them closer together as squad mates.
Yeah. So I kind of like the fact that he did that. Obviously, we talked about the weird things about earlier in the script. It was weird that why is that one switched around? That one's a little bit weird. Why would you switch that? But just with the reveal of how things switched around, as it played through, it seemed to have a lot of foresight on his end that he wanted certain characters to be developed a certain way and just liked by the audience.
Yeah. So it seems like the script that you have probably isn't the final draft of it. It was maybe a preliminary.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it definitely wasn't the final draft.
Yeah.
But it's just the way it seemed to have been balanced. At first, it didn't make sense, but now I'm starting to see the picture of it. That if the way he shot it was okay, this is how I plan on doing it. It seemed like he had the plan to make all the characters likable.
Yeah. Even right now, Ace, again, when he just slaps down the food on Rico's tray and tells him everyone should have a friend like me, he's just being a jerk, but he's being kind of, funny too. I kind of laugh at him because, I had a friend like this. He was kind of a... Medic! Well, I gotta cut that out now. But he was kind of a jerk, but, he was a friendly guy, but again, he was kind of a jerk, and, oh gosh, if you remember me, if you remember, he probably doesn't, but he was one of the guys who tried to steal Pokemon cards from me, but he was always really nice about it.
There's no one that's nice about stealing someone else's Pokemon cards. Come on.
He wanted to sell them. It wasn't mean or anything. He wanted to take some really, really common stuff that he would have probably gotten 2 cents for. He didn't know the full value of them.
Oh, okay.
So in his dumbness, or his not of understanding how much of the value the cards had, I kind of, forgave him for it.
Well, I don't know, but I'm not sure about that because that's not for me, a long-term forgiveness type of thing, because that's a little bit, because that's personal property. But the way Ace acts, it's it seems like it's more of an insecurity that he has. Like he
Oh,
comes off brash in the beginning, but it's because he doesn't act like this throughout the whole movie.
no, he doesn't. Definitely, he doesn't.
So it seems like he just has problems starting a conversation with someone, and this was his best attempt at it.
Yeah. Breckenridge comes up and pushes Ace to the back of the line, and ending a somewhat tense moment. Rico takes his tray and sits down. But yeah, I mean, we're getting it that, hey, even though this may be the first day, these guys are, kind of coming together. The whole entire squad's coming together, basically.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add to what you were saying was that this now it just seems like the squad is becoming a squad instead of a bit of a fracture in between everybody.
Oh, definitely, yeah, it is. I mean, they're all even like that last scene in the last minute where Shizumi, and even Zim comes up behind them and everything, and they're just like, yeah, we're kind of, pushing against you, Ace. Don't be a jerk. You need to be part of the squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Rico goes to sit down, eat his meal, but then Dizzy comes up and asks, "Hey, want to sit together?" And he says, "Not right now, Diz." But we notice actually hit her neck has kind of a big mark on it.
Yeah. That's obviously something that was only done for the movie because, like I said, they switched around Shijumi and Diz's fight with Zim.
Mm-hmm.
But that's actually like I thought it was really funny to see that because I was like, oh man, like that is a huge bruise.
See, I wanted to ask you about this too. Johann, if anyone doesn't know, likes to play hockey. He refs hockey and he also plays goalie from time to time. But I was wondering because you are pretty prevalent to these kind of injuries, bruises, welts, big things that happen onto the skin.
Yeah.
Say if you got hit with a puck on like a bare patch of skin or something like that. I don't know if that would ever happen because you're usually covered, but would it form this kind of bruise about maybe lunchtime?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen I am on a goalie forum and there are people that sometimes they do not wear the neck dangle.
Yeah.
So they do show photos like, oh, I got tagged in the neck. I definitely am buying a dangle next time. But even to the locker room, they start to have a huge impact on the neck depending on the shot. Sometimes it's not as bad, but if they take a full straight on one, and I've seen it twice on the ice myself, someone taking a shot right on the neck and they're just down. I mean, sometimes they'll get back up, they'll play the rest of the game, finish it off, and then they have a huge bruise on their neck later on. But yeah, it does happen. And considering in hockey, it's just going to hit a couple parts in the neck that it's just going to, break up a little bit of the muscle tissue, which, it still hurts. Considering what Diz went through with that amount of pressure that was on her neck where she was just like out in a couple of seconds, I'm sure she's going to have a huge bruise, something like that.
Yeah, I was just mostly asking because I wasn't sure if a bruise would form that fast from like breakfast time to lunchtime kind of thing.
That is a good question.
Yeah, because I remember like getting hit, or like even you get hit. Sometimes you'll post it on Facebook, and it'll look like, oh, small little red mark, and then like a day or two later, it's a massive welt.
No, you know what? I got a high stick to my chin once, and yeah, it started to bruise when I got home.
Okay, so this is pretty. I guess the makeup and everything looks pretty accurate. I was wondering about that because I wasn't too
No,
sure.
I think they may have over exaggerated a little bit because of the size, because it wouldn't blow up like that until later on.
Mm-hmm.
But it would bruise. Because me, it's like when I get hit, you start to see that purple start to form up, or like the reddish, and then it starts to form the purple and then the black, and then the inner side starts to turn that yellowish, which is just basically the body healing itself. If that is the initial bruise, that thing will cover up most of her entire neck and probably getting close to the collarbone. So I think they over exaggerate the size just for the film, but yeah, it would bruise about this time.
Okay. But yeah, so Rico tells Diz, "Oh no, thanks, Diz," and he goes to
Yeah.
sit down, takes out a silverware fork from the silverware holder. I noticed in this part too when Diz and Rico are sitting down, or Diz is kind of like looking over Johnny, that a lot of the recruits are not wearing the same shirt as Dizzy and Rico. What I mean by that is they have a little bit like their cuffs and their sleeves are a little bit longer. So, and Rico's and Dizzy's are shorter, showing off their muscles and their arms and everything. But if you look in the background, a few of the recruits in the back have just normal sleeved shirts. A few of them have long sleeves, but most of them have like these normal sleeve shirts, while Rico's is up to his shoulder almost.
Yeah.
They're showing it off.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that it is a little bit weird, and I think it's only changed just for the filming because they have to say the lines, they're under the sun, etc., etc. But I think it's kind of unfair that you would make the extras, because this was filmed on a tarmac, so this place gets incredibly hot.
Mm-hmm.
But unless it's the same stuff they were wearing in a different scene, where they had to wear something that was a little bit cooler, because obviously there were incidents of heat stroke. Later on, we can talk about that. But I think that they just did it for the actors, also to show off their muscles and all that, because maybe it just didn't look. Maybe it doesn't look too good to have them in the forefront of the camera, all in black.
Yeah, also I'm thinking because they are extras, they're not going to have form-fitting or perfectly sized shirts as they would with the two main characters.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna have like a rack that says Dizzy, rack that says Rico, and then another rack that says small, medium, and large.
Yeah, exactly.
Like theirs are going to be more specific for their character. But you know what I mean? If these two characters are both wearing black and they're both next to each other in the same scene, you just have too much of that black fabric absorbing the scene. So maybe that's why they switched it up. Like it just didn't look right on the camera, which would something be, I think, like a director of photography, like his job, more than Verhoeven's. But I think it may. I'm thinking that's the call because it makes it look a lot better.
Yeah, I agree on that one. The DP probably would definitely come in with his light meter and be like, you know what? We need some more light.
Yeah. Or at least something that would bounce off to make it seem brighter of a scene. Because, black absorbs light. So now you're just having, it would look like what's it called? Like one of those like French artistic films where everybody's wearing turtlenecks type of thing. And you just see the head. Like it may start to look like that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they cut it out. Because with everybody in their black long sleeves walking in the background, I just think it was more from an artistic opinion to change that around, and it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely does. Yeah, Dizzy asks Rico after that what his major malfunction is. I'm sorry, what his malfunction is, not major malfunction.
Yeah, major malfunction's a different thing altogether.
Yes, it is. But he says that she is. He joined up to get on his own, and she had to tag along. Dizzy asks if he thinks that she joined MI just because of him, and Rico answers her question with a question of his own, saying, "Was you saying you didn't?" And she doesn't respond and walks away. But I mean, that's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's literally the kettle, calling it kettle black at this point.
Exactly. He joined up for Carmen. She joined up for Rico. I mean, the whole entire thing is Carmen is the catalyst for everyone joining MI, apparently.
Yeah, and not only that, Rico wanted to be in Fleet, not in MI. Like he signed up for Fleet, and he was going to do his swearing and all that, and they just knocked it down that like, no, there's no way you can make Fleet, but we can give you MI, and he thought that was an in because he was kind of bragging about like I made infantry. And she's like, "Oh, good for you. You're like my dad."
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't join to be out on his own either. You know,
No.
yeah, he's saying like I joined up to get out on my own. No, you didn't. You joined out to be with Carmen, and it didn't work out. So now you're an MI.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, I don't think if Rico didn't join up, I don't think Dizzy would have either. She's following him like Rico did with Carmen. But the thing is, too, I'm wondering if, because, Dizzy had all these prospects for jump ball, she was a premier athlete, who knows what other skills she had. She may have not had to pick MI. She could have gone somewhere else.
No,
But,
she could have gone anywhere else. Um, until you told me about the neon dog corps,
yeah,
like maybe she could have done that.
who knows? Yeah.
Like she could have been something else other than MI, but she joined up for Johnny.
Definitely she did.
But uh, I don't know. It always made me a little bit mad. Like, dude, don't you get it?
Oh, he gets it. He just doesn't. Again, he doesn't care. He doesn't want her.
No,
At this point. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious. A blind man would have seen it and been like, "Oh yeah, Johnny. Yeah, she wants you, Johnny. Come on."
no. I mean, like, don't you get it? Like, it doesn't have to be about Carmen anymore.
Until a future minute, he's not going to get that at all. He still thinks, "Oh, maybe I'll still be assigned. Maybe I'll be assigned to her ship or something like that, and we can hang out together in like the officers' mess or something like that, where Fleet and MI mix
Yeah.
or
Um.
something."
Yeah. This. God dang it, Johnny.
Well, let's continue on then. Yeah. So Ace, after she leaves, Ace finds a seat next to Rico, smiles, and gives him that goofy big old smile of his, and says, "Hi." I love him
Oh my!
so much.
It is. It's amazing. Like that. That is just amazing.
Like, I don't
If
think it's
there's
meant to be funny either, but it is hilarious to me that he just, has this big old goofy smile on him.
Yeah, it's not that, but this is the moment that if it wasn't okay, if it wasn't for Jake Beasy, I don't think Ace would be as likable until that point.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because in the script, that doesn't happen. Diz just walks away, or Johnny walks away from Diz, and then that's the end of the lunch scene.
Huh.
The scene, the part where Ace comes up to say hi, like that. it it wasn't in the script, but adding that in made Ace likable.
It definitely
Well,
did.
I think it just puts it over the top. Like it kind of becomes a palate cleanser of Ace.
Instead of
You
being
know,
a big old jerk, he's a goofy, oh yeah, when I said, "Hey, everyone should have a friend like me," I meant it. Let's hang out.
yeah, exactly. But now he's like kind of going out of his way to meet with other people. And well, what am I trying to think of? So at first, he's just that guy that cuts in line, tells everybody he's going to be the squad leader. He's a little bit brash, a little bit cocky, and then now is just that hi, like you just like the guy after that point. You just laugh it off, and you have this new point of view of Ace.
Yeah. But after that, the scene changes, and we get all the recruits running an obstacle course with a voiceover of Rico telling Ace that he doesn't have a chance. But Ace retorts, "What makes you think that you're going to make it? They're going to make you squad leader," kind of thing. But they're running an obstacle course. They're basically having a little bit of a rivalry now. They're friends, I guess, but having a little bit of a, "Nah, you're not going to do it. I'm going to do it."
Yeah. See, but if it wasn't for that scene before that, or like the line, the high, like this makes it seem like they're in like direct competition.
Yeah.
But this one now with that scene, it made it seem like it's a friendly rivalry. But in your mind's eye, you're like, Rico's gonna top out Ace.
Yeah,
But
well, we don't know. I mean, in the movie, in the sense that we've seen this movie so many times. Yeah, but if you haven't seen this movie, Ace looks like a pretty big guy. He could be one of those I always yell at my subordinates kind of officer because I've seen too many war movies, but I can still be a good leader kind of guy, but I don't know.
Well, the only reason why I think that, other than also seeing the movie, is their confrontation on the lunch line. You see everybody backing behind Rico.
Yeah, true.
So that's a point where you're like, okay, it looks like Rico's going to be that charismatic leader that everybody's going to rally behind. Plus, you also know that Rico was the captain of the jump ball team.
Mm-hmm.
So he already has that leadership quality about him that people seem to gravitate towards. You don't know much about Ace at this point, other than the fact he wants to be a leader. So I think that prior scene where they're friends makes this part seem like it's going to be just this friendly rivalry going all the way to the top.
Yeah, it definitely does, but that's when that minute ends.
Yep.
Do you want to say anything else about this minute while we're here?
No. Not too much about this minute, just because I think the next couple minutes I'll start to go over where things got screwed up, like where the placements are. But these are all obviously Verhoeven changes because it's when the characters come in and all that. And I think it starts to make sense the way he did it versus what it was on the script.
Mm-hmm. I will. I just want to point out a little bit of the things on the table when Rico sits down to. It looks like there's kind of a jug that you can pour water into, a few other like containers in there, and also that little just cup with all the silverware in it. It seems kind of weird because you would think that a silverware like container would be in a centralized place where everyone can get it, not at individual tables.
Well, I guess, but yeah, I know you're right. With a bunch of people like that,
Mm-hmm.
like it would be empty real fast. Like
Yeah.
have like a carafe of water in very hot sun. Like it's obviously going to get used up, and it's like, oh, fill up that one.
Well, they're in the mess right now too. So, I mean, it's a covered open air. It's an open like tent kind of looking thing. But these things were made out of what is it? It looks like an inflatable building, but it's a rigid, ribbed kind of canvas covered building. I remember this building or these buildings because the private school I went to, one of their classrooms was made out of this.
Oof.
It was weird, but it was AC'd. It was nice, but it just felt like a big kind of weird. You ever see those infomercials where they're all like, "Oh, you can build your own garage out of these ribbed, components," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, except it was covered with like a vinyl weird canvas that almost like looked hard. So I was thinking to myself at a point, "Oh, this is inflatable," but it's not.
Huh.
Yeah,
All right.
but they're in that kind of thing. It's open aired, so I mean they are getting a breeze in, but who knows? I mean they're covered from the elements, basically.
I guess that's all you kind of need.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean I guess I'm done talking about this minute. Are you too?
Yeah, I'm done with this one.
All right. Well, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitch at JDASHD26. That's J-D26. Or you can also find me on my Instagram at the same name.
All right. And you guys can find me at AltTabMatt pretty much anywhere from Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, or anything like that. You can also follow the show at The Roughneck Men on Twitter. You can go to our website, theroughneckminute.podbean.com, to check out any old show notes or past episodes we may have. Please go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Google Play as well, too. I did sign us up for Stitcher, so we will be coming to Stitcher pretty soon, hopefully. It's going to take about 5 days to get us on there, but please rate and review us. 5 stars if we are a 5-star podcast for you guys. You can also go to our Facebook page, The Roughneck Minute Billet, where you can join the group and continue the conversation and talk to us about all this stuff. But I've been one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I've been your other host, Johann.
We will see you on the Bounce Troopers.